Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come here together and lead this city. We ask that you be with us as we make decisions through this evening, and that you inspire us to work together as a team to fulfill your intention for this city. Lord, we ask that you be with the families that we've lifted up this evening, and that you guide them and support them in only ways you can. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. First thing we need to do is adopt the agenda, but I do want to make just a slight change in it. I want to move the National Guard representatives up to right after Mickey because they have a long trip for them tonight. So with that change, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Nicole makes that motion. Herbie seconds. All in favor? Okay, the agenda's been adopted. Everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the May meeting. Was there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
One small, it's Base Camp Coding Academy.
Thank you. I'll fix that.
We're going to have a motion to adopt the minutes as corrected. Katie makes a motion, Fred second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Okay, we have the dockets for the monthly bills. Again, I think everyone's received those in advance. If you had a chance to look at them. Any questions?
I had a few quick ones.
Okay.
The grass cutting,
Yeah.
that was up to 9. I know it's growing a lot.
Yeah, it's over 12,000 right now.
And that was our budget.
Actually, we have some other, this goes under the parks and stuff that we can, it's all grass cutting and stuff.
Gotcha.
We can't move that.
We can switch around a little bit in that.
And then the feed for animals for Second Chance, was that just the heading we put our monthly payment under?
They don't give us much just every once in a while we'll get a bill for that, not very often. So
Okay.
it's just kind of sporadically.
Is that going to be replaced by a once a month agreement?
That, we'll have to get into that when we get to that agreement because,
Okay. We can circle back.
Yeah.
The number of volunteer firefighter calls was, thank you. I hadn't seen that count before.
yeah.
There's a lot of action there. And then did something happen at the lift station? There's a lot of,
Yes. And David can get into that. Yeah. And we'll have something else on that later in the agenda tonight that we'll have to add on.
that's all I have.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve the dockets, pay the monthly bills. Fred makes a motion, Nicole seconds, all in favor? That is approved. Okay, Mickey.
You know, I must compliment you on this tie thing. Don't you do this every meeting?
You'll wear one.
I didn't get the memo. I've got 4 things for you tonight, and the first thing is the State Historic Preservation Officer, Todd Sanders, of the Department of Archives and History, was in Water Valley 2 Fridays ago, and with Kagan Coughlin, he and I we walked around the Rice Sticks building, the Big Yank building. If you haven't been in there recently, I can tell you it is dark and drippy. But it's still in good shape, and Todd's job is to look for the historic qualities in a building and see what's worth preserving and what's not. And the building as a whole is very intact and really good shape, I think. So he really enjoyed his visit to the valley. He ate a big lunch, and he hopes to come back soon. Last Friday was a block party that Main Street threw for the 200 block of North Main. There was a deluge in the beginning, and but that didn't stop. We didn't cancel the party, and it carried on. The people that started this, which is Trusty Diner, created a whole bunch of games for kids, and the Water Valley cheerleaders helped us with that, and we had these kids' games, but these things don't go away, and we have them, and we plan to use them in the future, hopefully in less wet and cooler weather. So that's going on. Last week, for 5 days, a photojournalist from Portland, Oregon, Carolyn Campbell, was in town. She's under contract with Ram Trucks. They're no longer Dodge, they just go by Ram. And she's doing photojournalism work around the United States, particularly in the South, and they are looking to scout the locations for a new ad campaign. And anyway, she ended up spending off and on 5 days in Water Valley. So you never know about those things. And usually if you get an ad campaign, you're on national TV for all of 3 seconds, but it's a long shot. And the last thing I have for you is the Art Council has set the date for the 10th annual Art Crawl, and that's going to be October 6th. That's a Saturday, and the usual time on that is 5:30 to 9.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time we'll call on Lieutenant McDonald and Lieutenant Johnson.
Hi, I'm Colonel Paul McDonald with I'm the Construction and Facilities Management Officer for the Mississippi National Guard. I came back in December and talked to y'all, but I knew you had some changes in leadership here in the city. So what I wanted to do was just come back and tell you that the Armory is still available if you're interested in it. We no longer have the unit assigned there, so there's that unit is currently drilling with its parent headquarters in Bruce. So for all intents and purposes, it's there, we own it, but we're not using it. So we would like to offer it to you. If you don't want it, then we will keep it and continue to maintain it. We just won't have a regular presence there. We can still open it for things like today. It's open for the elections and as a campaign not a campaign, but a voting precinct. But we would much rather see it productively used. It's just excess to our inventory at this point. So I just wanted to bring that back to the city and let you discuss it. If you have any questions of me, that's really why I'm here. That's where we're at with the Armory here in this town. It's due to a number of factors: budget cuts, force structure changes over the years. I think I've told some of you before, Mississippi went from our heyday of around 12,000 soldiers to now we're under 10,000. We're at about 9,500 soldiers across the Army National Guard across the state. So we have fewer soldiers and less money. So we have to make some hard decisions on consolidating where it makes sense for training, readiness, recruiting, the number of young people in the community, 18 to 30-year-olds that we target for recruiting to try and get in the Guard. And this was, we're not leaving the area. I mean, what we want you to know is that the National Guard stands by, always ready, always there. We're within, 20 minutes or 30 minutes down in Bruce and Calhoun City and Oxford, and we're all the way around you. So we're here, but we just we cannot economically man all the facilities that we currently own. So that's where we're at. And I'm not asking for any sort of decisions today, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention and open it up for any questions y'all may have with me.
Is it being used at all by your officers at all, or they're
No,
totally with Bruce now?
They're drilling in Bruce for the most part. Lieutenant Colonel Stacy Johnson is the unit commander. I asked him to come as well so that you could meet him as well, because a lot of your soldiers or your citizens that I think there's not maybe a handful that actually live here in Bruce that are in the Guard. Last count I think was 3 or 7 members of this community actually are in the Guard. But they're Stacy soldiers, and it's his job to look out for their training, their welfare, and their readiness to serve our state and our nation. So I wanted you to also put that face to it. The biggest thing that any community can do for us is not necessarily a facility, it's young people. It's the 18 to 30-year-old young people that our nation and our state needs to serve, and that's the hard sticking point for us, and that's what we're constantly looking for.
If we chose to take this building,
Yes, sir.
how soon could we be able to use it if we had a need for it?
If you had a need for it, we normally handle transfers within about 60 days. that's our normal timeline. We've done some quicker. We're returning the facility in Waynesboro tomorrow. I mean, we started that about 2.5 months ago. They asked for it back because they had a need. We weren't necessarily looking to leave Waynesboro, but they had a need, and we met with the Adjutant General, and we had a place for them, so it made sense for both us and the community of Waynesboro to move forward with that. So we're trying to make the best partnerships we can with the communities. You know, we returned Grenada a year and a half ago, and that's now part of the Grenada County School. We returned, Nettleton. I'm not sure what they're doing with theirs. Trying to remember Collins. That's now part of the fire academy, the local fire academy. So there's a lot of good success stories where communities have been able to really, because it's valued at roughly $2 million facility with land and improvements. So it could be a big benefit to the community if they have a need for it, if they have a use for it. Any other questions?
Is there any restriction? Could we put it into, if we added a $2 million asset to the tax rolls, that would be a significant thing?
Well, of course, it's owned by the city now. And
Right.
They
It's leased to us. So
it
we would-
leased to the Guard.
we would simply terminate the lease agreement.
It would come back into the city inventory, so to speak.
And so really, it is your inventory. It's
Right.
really, do you want to just maintain
Empty building?
an empty building with a $1 lease? I think it's $1 for 50 years or 99 years, something like that.
We pay the utilities now.
You do pay the utilities, and that's,
Yeah. and
we do, I think, we send somebody over here to pick up the mail and cut the grass. So, because we don't want to leave it looking derelict.
We'll put you on the list.
You put me on the grass. I heard the grass cutting question. You want us put us on the payroll for cutting grass?
So Sergeant Turner doesn't have an office there anymore, and he doesn't have to do computer work in that office at any time?
He does, because we don't want the unit to look like an eyesore, the building with the grass being unkept. So he works here once a week,
Okay.
but his duties are in Bruce every day.
So has
we-
he actually been, I mean, if we were to take this building back, he doesn't have a guarantee of being transferred to the unit that he's training in currently in Calhoun?
No, he's actually working in Bruce every day, and the makeup of the unit consists of
So that's
about
where he's assigned to now?
Yes. The unit is made up of 160 soldiers. 102 work at Bruce, and the remaining 58 work here at Water Valley. So, and that's the headquarters. So now that if you all decide to take the building back, so Sergeant Turner will work at Bruce every day, which he's basically been doing the whole year.
Is that guaranteed?
Yes, because we have a system called priority placement for all our AGR people full-time. So if that armory closes, he doesn't lose his job. He's already been reassigned, so.
Well, I knew he wouldn't lose his job, but it was my understanding that he would go to the next slot available at his level, at his rank, and that could be anywhere in the state.
Normally, under the circumstances, but we've been given authorizations to hire additional 2 people in that facility at Bruce, so it'll be a total of 5 soldiers working there.
Okay.
So, and he's safe of those 5, no issues there with him. And also, of the 58 soldiers here, I know Colonel McDonald alluded to it earlier, but only 2 of the 58 soldiers actually reside in Water Valley. They come everywhere from Memphis to Miles Point and all over the state.
Is there any kind of guidelines that you need to have an answer on this that would be preferable to you?
If you decide you would like the facility, a simple letter from the mayor and the city council requesting it, you can send it to me. I'll leave you my card. That said, you know, that the board met, you voted, you agreed, you'd like the facility back, and then once we have that letter in hand, we can work at your pace. So that's really the short of it. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll leave you with one of my cards, and I'll leave another one for the. I'll make the real brains. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out, contact me if something else comes up. because we're like many other state agencies, because the Guard is both federally and state funded. And the state has a big share in the facilities burden, cost burden. And that's one of the things we're working very hard with the state legislature on. But it's very difficult in this state, or in this day and age rather, like all state agencies and municipalities, we feel the pinch of, you know, state and federal budgets like everybody else does. And we have to be good stewards of your money. You know, you're the taxpayers. And so my job as a facility manager is to be the best steward of your tax dollars that I can be. So that's part of my charge.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Anything? Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you all.
Can I just ask what folks think?
My opinion is that we retrieve this building back because I see that there is some functions for this building that I see.
I can think of some immediate needs we have in the city that we could purpose the building for.
Definitely, we had already spoke about that and kind of made a list of different options and different things that we could do, so.
So I'll,
My biggest concern was the displacement of the two current employees. This is a new piece of information that Lieutenant Johnson brought to us today,
Yeah.
that they're guaranteed 2 slots there at the Calhoun facility,
Right.
which was not available when
Before.
Colonel McDonald came to speak to us in December.
Right.
So that was my main concern. And, you know, otherwise, do we want to start recruiting people to become part of the Guard and build our Guard back up again?
I would,
But just, like you said, there's 58 that's assigned here.
Right.
They just are never here.
They just don't
Right.
train here.
And so it's,
I'll just make a motion then that we proceed with requesting that facility back for city use. And I know we've talked about police and fire who need or in desperate need of a new facility, could be a
Right.
potential use, but
I think it would more, we need to talk about it some more.
I think we need to talk about it some
Yeah.
more too.
Mhm.
Right.
well, we have a motion, so I'll ask for a second. And of course, if it doesn't get the second tonight, it will die, but we can always bring it back later. So
Discuss it
we
at
have
next
a
meeting next month.
put it on the agenda.
Yeah, on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, we could do.
Give us plenty of time.
And that way everybody can brainstorm a little bit, think, you know.
I don't- we
Everybody
aren't-
knows there's some needs that we have and they could be addressed by using that building.
I don't know that we have to decide what to do with it.
Right.
But
Right,
I'd
but
be
just
happy to start
discuss
the
it.
ball rolling.
Well, right now, you did mention that we're already we've gone overfunded for grass cutting.
Yeah.
Let them maintain it until the winter time. Maybe, you know what I mean, like,
Right.
Yeah, I thought
the
mine.
overall picture, you know?
Okay.
We have to go up there and cut the grass.
Well, either, Kay, you can withdraw, I can.
I'll withdraw.
He's just gonna withdraw his motion right now, but,
Next month.
and, we'll put it on the agenda next month, kind of talk, discuss it. They brainstorm, like I said, we'll see where it goes. Okay.
I'd actually like to see the paperwork for their guaranteed that transfer.
Okay, next would be the, board warrant exemption. I think you received a list of all the new equipment and, which totaled, $7,415,931.55 that they're asking for the tax exemption on, which, calculates about a little over $41,000 of tax money.
Has this been approved by the county?
The county has already given them the tax exemption on this additional equipment.
Due to their expansion rates and employees that they're employing, I think we need to really seriously consider this exemption.
Can you make that form of motion?
Yes, sir.
Herbie makes a motion that we give them this tax exemption. Fred seconds. Any more discussion on it? All in favor? Okay. Next is the SCAA agreement. I'll have a chance to look over that. And, everyone has a copy of the ordinance. Along with that, I think a copy of the, I'll call it the dog ordinance. Yeah, the agreement is what we had been discussing, and I had written up.
So the agreement now does not reference a separate ordinance, it's a single document.
Single document.
Self-referential.
And I think that was what we'd
Yep.
asked to remove that, yes. Okay. Any discussion on that now? We talked about it.
The one thing I would circle back to the food payment that we made. So in the first page, last paragraph,
Yes.
the $1,000 per month, which is the number we've talked about, is the city contribution. That would take the place of any other payments we've been making. That was my understanding, that we wouldn't make a different food payment. It was $1,000 a month flat rate for
I think that's right, because in section 2, I think it deals with that they would provide adequate
Yeah.
food, housing, water, shelter, whatever.
You never said we were paying.
And that goes on their responsibility. Our responsibility is paying them
I'll
$1,000.
monitor that and make sure that doesn't happen.
They budget that money for the needs that they have.
Right.
That makes
Any labor or anything else, that's there.
Right.
That's what they-
Here's a copy of the letter they were sent.
So I'll make a motion that are we submitting this to them, or they have a copy and we're agreeing to this tonight?
We're submitting it to them after we fleshed it out.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this as our own proposal to them, if they sign it and we're done.
We have a motion, we have a second. Call the second. All in favor?
I just, I keep underlining the same, thing that says, we're returning it to the city for disposal, and that was why we removed the reference to the old dog ordinance, and we're going to look to improve our current dog ordinance. So I think that at this time, instead of me nitpicking it, you will just let them do it for me.
Okay. You voting for? Does that mean you voted for?
Yeah, voting for.
So it's unanimous.
You usually ask for a discussion.
Well,
I had my own discussion.
We had kind of, I won't say beat that one, so, but we had talked about that.
So do we want to circle back to the dog ordinance later?
I would think so. If we have other people on the program, then we could actually bump that down and talk about that at the
Yeah.
end.
Okay.
Everyone's agreed to that. Is Renee Kane here? I don't know Miss Kane either. Okay, she's not here, so Renee Kane is not here. We already did that. All right. Okay, the Lions Club. Someone want to address the board?
First of all, I'd like to thank
I have to ask you to come up, be on camera there.
I'd like to thank you for letting us be on the agenda, and I'm not sure that we really need a spot on the agenda anymore. I think our letter would speak our opinion or our position about the landscaping proposal right now in the depot area. Lion Bill Norris and Curtis Berry are members of the depot committee. They may have something else to say. Lon Curtis is the curator of the Casey Jones Railroad Museum, but maybe you want to read that.
Did everybody have a copy of the letter?
Yes,
Had a chance to read it?
yes.
Okay. That was a landscaping idea. Basically, really, the Lions Club leased that property. So, I think it's more their call than it is ours.
I spoke with the one of AIA, which is part of one of the groups that has helped spearheading a development or a project in Water Valley, and what they were wanting to do was incorporate, and there's other ideas other than the Lions Club building, or the railroad depot, as it were. That was just the way she put it, the fan favorite that they had reviewed. But in our conversation, she said that she'd be more than happy to set up a group meeting between the board, or whomever the board would like to submit, plus the Lions Club, plus whomever else, like Mickey Howley, and themselves, to, if they don't want to do the Lions Club building, what project will we do? Because it's a joint program with the local high school, I think community college and college, correct me if I'm wrong, and
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. So there's a lot of great opportunities for students to learn, us to get an improvement for no cost, and if it's not the depot, they do have other projects on their list. But she offered that she'd be happy to meet in August so that we could discuss those.
Because I think that would, again, kind of be up to the Lions Club themselves, since they lease the property. And I know I've had a lot of comments that, you know, did not want, when they heard about it, did not want it there. Who's going to maintain? How many parking places will we be losing? Things like this. And people have come to me directly with that. So, you know, I would certainly like anything to beautify our town, but not at the cost of stepping on the toes of the Lions Club, especially since they lease the property and maintain it and have put a lot of money into landscaping and other things. And, but that's just my opinion. So I leave it up to y'all to express your opinion on that.
Well, David's not here, but he also expressed to me that that's a big runoff area. There's, you know, this area here, it's very steep and a lot of water runoff coming off that hill. And he said that there was a basin under there that didn't need to be disturbed, and Michael agreed with that as well. So it might not be the best space for that improvement.
So maybe a different place then.
Yeah, still would love to work with them. And
No, yeah,
have
I mean,
them
you
come
know,
and-
like I said, anything to beautify the town is great, but, you know, not at what
That's one
expense
area.
sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
Need
plenty of
improvement.
places.
I think it would help if everyone was involved in the planning stage for projects like this,
Yeah,
instead of having them, just
right.
hearing about them secondhand.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the big problems of that.
So I agree, I wouldn't force this on anybody who didn't want it.
Right. Yeah, so, I'll just say,
I'll
do we
let
need
the,
a motion on it at all, or just,
No.
We can make a motion
No.
to
no?
adopt it.
No, we did not, so we just, it just kinda goes away.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
I'm gonna let AIA know that they're interested in a project, but not this project, because of the Lions Club's opinion that it would create undue burden on them to maintain it. However, we would like to explore some of the secondary plans that they have.
I mean, I read the paper, and you guys know that Tom Holbrook was the architect of the plan in the first part, right?
Yes, we know about,
So
we
maybe
know
you
about the story.
Maybe you should hear Mr. Holbrook and what he has to say about this.
What would he have to say?
Well, what he has to say is the interaction between a public space, which this is, and what they're going to do for students. It's not about the Lions Club or Main Street. This is really about a project for students who would look at architecture and how that works. And so that's really the main thrust of this. He picked there were 4 options, and he thought this was the best option for the students. And so perhaps it would be worth in August to hear him out. And since he's already had a long history with you in the building.
I'm sure some of us would be willing to be a part of it.
Now, we'll meet with it.
I'll leave that up to y'all. Okay. Sanitation discussion, and just get back to we had talked about our rates on our sanitation. And I believe y'all asked me to bring some additional information, and I'm sorry I didn't get it all together, but I've got it, I just don't have it in front of all of y'all. Okay, right now on our residential side, we have 1,314 customers, 1,314 residential customers at $11.50 each. On the commercial side, we have 243. And that rate varies, but it averages about $45 a customer on the average there. So your total income annual from those two would be about $312,552. Now, that being said, looking at our current year budget, under our salaries and everything that falls under that category, we're at about 67% of budget through May on that. On the landfill expenses, the repair of vehicles, and other items in there, we are running about 68% at budget through 5 months. On uniforms, miscellaneous things like that, we're at 64% of budget through 5 months. Of course, one thing, and Michael can correct me, we've had a lot of expense on equipment, and our landfill cost went up. Both those things totally out of our control. But overall, we're about 61% through 5 months budget. The income has been steady when we can collect it, but we're about 50% on that, so about where we should be on that. But if we had a major expense, which we can't continue to look to government for grants, we got to be self-sustaining sometimes. By having a rate that's fair to everyone, but being able to meet our budget requirements, and at the same time maybe put something in a fund to purchase these, I'll say $100,000 garbage trucks. I'm not sure what they are, but if we don't plan ahead, when we have that, we have one truck that's 15 years of age, I believe.
16 and a 14 and then a 7-year.
And y'all know we have a lot of hills in this town, so we're tough on transmissions, hydraulics, and things like that. So
to get through the end of the year, we'll be at 144%.
If something doesn't, it could be possible. Yes, it could be possible if something doesn't change. And of course, right now with the landfill having to go to Pontotoc right now, how long is Oxford going to be shut down? Another?
Roughly at least another 2 months before they're even open back up.
So that means those trips to Pontotoc, which is more wear and tear on the vehicles, which had to, a driver has to have a CDL. We're putting him on the road over there. So it's just added expense that wasn't seen when the budget started.
So that based on the numbers you said, we're running at 12% of budget per month. So 12 months, that's 144% of what we budgeted, which means to break even, our rates are 44% too low. And have been for I don't know how long.
Pretty neck and neck right now.
Our last increase was in 07. 07.
Okay.
So that, and I'm sure that everyone knows that expenses has gone up since that time, even fuel costs.
Have we got a proposed number?
I do not have a proposed number. I know that the county, I think, is at $15 per customer for the residential.
So if our residential right now is $11.50,
$11.50.
if we went up 44% on that, we would be above the county cost.
Yes.
Have we ever gotten a quote from an outside provider?
We have not.
Will that be, because if the county uses an outside provider, right?
They do. I mean, I think we could get one very easily, but, you know, what do we do in the meantime, I don't know. Of course, we still have money in the budget, money's still coming in. But I mean, we could, I remember who's got the county budget,
Waste
contract.
Waste
Waste Management has the county contract right now. They're out of Grenada, Waste Management, or, yeah, so they'd be very easy to get a quote from them.
I'd like to see those two numbers, because this tells us exactly what we need to multiply our current rate by to cover our current cost.
And I really, like everybody, I'm sure, don't want to hit it that big at one time.
Yep.
You know, a 44% increase at one time is pretty big to a lot of people, especially.
Yep.
But I think we would definitely have to look at adjusting some.
And even if we got a quote from Waste Management or something like that, there's still other duties that's gonna come along with the sanitation that we're still gonna have to maintain some equipment.
Oh, yeah.
So, we gotta figure that in too.
Mayor,
Yes.
in the past, down the year, they had looked at some of this over the years, that's back, a long time back. The biggest thing is what the older boards and everything had looked at is some of the, looking at other companies and stuff there, is that they wanted to keep the money basically in town, because, you know, you got people hired, town people hired to upkeep it. Money's not going out of town, you're keeping it all right here. And, you know, that's the way it works. But if you get another company in here, then, like Mr. Rogers said, it's gonna fall back on the city. If there's some people that don't put the garbage out, the truck's already run, they're going back to Grenada. Well, so who's gonna come out and have to pick up all the garbage and stuff?
There's a trade-off for local.
Yeah, it is.
But I just had some secret information passed me from a Grenada resident. That they
Some
have-
of,
Yeah,
excuse me, go
we
ahead.
pay about 19.
They pay 13 for twice a week pickup. So if we just started with a number to think about, because we're always gonna have to do our own leaf. I don't think any of these companies come and do leaves. They don't come in and do the big brush. We'd still need our clam truck.
Right.
But we're not paying for a service. As a town, we're not supporting the cost of running that department right now.
That's right.
So
That's correct. I mean, like I said, I don't want to see a 44% rate increase right now. I don't.
Well, if we went up to 13 and, you know, start working on,
The same thing we did with the water, if we just had a 3-year plan.
Yeah,
And never let it go 11 years again without.
say a $2 increase go to $13.50, something like that. I mean,
just bump it up like we did in water.
yeah. Because, you know, no planning is just a bad idea. That's where we have kind of gotten in this.
Some of your average, your towns around, I called and checked around just to see what their rate, and most of the rates are anywhere from $15 to $21. The $21 average is, if you got a customer that puts out six bags or more, that's really taken away from a person that just puts out 3 bags a week. All right, so if you have any extra quantity, then they bill you for that extra amount. But the average around the surrounding area that I called all the friends, guys that I know, is anywhere from 15 and above.
Would it be less expensive if we had bins and once-a-week pickup? We have one.
We had to-
If we have what?
The thing with bins is you get a lot of undesirable things in them sometimes.
People just dump it.
Uh,
And everything.
And they're not gonna pick it up if
Carcasses
it's
and
not in
things
bad
like that.
anyway. People dumping other people's.
Anything that we implement will take about 2 months to
to get in, because it has to be, an ordinance has to be
brought
amended.
back, and then
Yeah.
everybody read and voted on, and then it has to be published, and so you're looking at, even if we did something tonight, 2 months. So if we, just saying, if we punt it out another month, that's 3 months. So
Yeah.
just be
What
mindful.
if we were to meet twice a month again, would it decrease that timeline?
We could
Not
have,
for the publics, not for the, excuse me, not for being published and all.
It would take us 2 months to get back to twice a month before.
we could have a special meeting
Yeah.
that would shorten it
Okay.
up.
Easily, on that, you know.
I think for this, we probably should, and I'd like to see a proposed 3-year to get us up to where we
Increase
need
it
to be.
again.
And at the same time, do you want me to
I'd
go
like
ahead
to-
and get a bid from Waste Management?
Just for comparison.
Definitely.
If the board would like, I will contact Waste Management and another couple, if they would like to, what quantity they would give us.
I think you can call David Kilgore down there. I think he's back over there.
Because there, from our last few months, we have need for the employees that we have today working in sanitation. We're short.
Definitely.
So if it would
We
be.
got, we have one little problem right now because we have one on leave, got a medical leave right now. So he's shifting somebody from another department in there now. Michael been doing a lot of shifting the last couple of weeks, street.
Now, folks, you got them
Yeah, so he's
around.
just filling in.
Somebody sick or got somebody-
So what percentage of that 312,000 is personnel? Wages and insurance?
Yeah, hand it off if you want to read it though. That's what it is.
All of the payroll personnel type is 67.95%. It,
Okay.
just in itself,
Yeah.
just that group by itself.
For the total cost.
Your services in charge, such as your insurances, your phones, your everyday, you know, things that you have to pay someone else to do for you, that runs at 68.9 by itself. That little section does. Your
So-
office supplies or your chemicals or anything like that you may need, your gas, that's running like 64.6.
That's what we're, today. You want to know what we are today or what?
What is the total dollar amount that
Of the
goes
budget.
to?
It's
keep-
budgeted
Okay,
for.
for the total dollar amount that's budgeted is 308,500.
Okay, so what's the total budget?
I mean, that is the total
That is the
budget.
total
What's the
sanitation
salary? Go back
budget.
to the salaries.
And that total of that at this point is 104 for the total budget.
So
That's for the
30%
salary.
of it goes to people.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
right now the big percent's in equipment, repairs. So doubt, we'll table it till we get some, or do you want
Can we call
to
this-
start an ordinance or?
Could we have a special meeting to see those numbers and decide? Because I don't think we can wait till the end of the summer. After Watermelon Carnival, there's a lot of garbage between now and then.
It's gonna take too much when you start.
We'll look for,
Do we have another reason for a special meeting?
Sealed bids usually.
yeah.
Oh,
That's right. And it, Daniel, correct, if we take bids from, we have to advertise for bids, period.
Yes.
So we're looking,
That
kicking
is
it way
true.
down the road.
That is to at least twice in Canada, 15 days.
I mean, that's, my idea behind this is that you would want to explore that and see what, but you don't have to accept any of the bids, but you can explore the bids and the contracts that are available. However, this is a problem that can't resolve itself, so we'll have to move forward on one front while we're also attacking on another. So you'll have to.
That's kind of what I was, he said it not better.
So I'll make a motion then that we put out a request for bids just to see whatever timeline that follows, but I also think we need to move forward with an incremental increase in our rates.
Okay, so we have, now you want all that in one motion?
I'll make two.
Or do you want to go ahead and put what increase, you said an incremental increase, what in?
Oh, I think we would need to do that in a special meeting, because we need an ordinance.
Well, I'll have to draft whatever y'all suggest at the special
We could- we
meeting. I would
could-
suggest
we
y'all
could-
go ahead and try to figure it
We
out
could do the
tonight.
motion tonight for him to,
Then I'll draft it, we'll come back to the special meeting, adopt it, and then we'll have it on file and publish it, so we'll cut off some time.
okay, so the motion is that we go ahead and advertise for bids for our sanitation and garbage. That's your motion?
Yes.
All right, that's the motion. All right, we have a second then. Go seconds, all in favor? Yes, unanimous. Okay. Now, do you want to go ahead now and make the motion that we authorize Daniel to be looking at an ordinance for us to look at in a special meeting?
Okay, I'll do that, and actually, if the numbers that you gave said it's a 44% shortfall right now,
Right.
then my motion would be, we look at an ordinance that would, over 3 years, increase the garbage rate 15% each year for the next 3 years, so that we don't kick anybody hard, but we'll get up to where we're self-sustaining in 3 years.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion that Daniel write an amendment to the ordinance. That would be a 3-year increase, 15% per year for our sanitation department.
That was $1.73.
Each year. It'll actually be a little more, because it'll be based on.
Okay, so we have that motion, I have a second. Herbie seconds. Any more discussion on that? All in favor? That's unanimous. Okay, Daniel, when you get that together, let me know, and then we'll set a time for the special meeting.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Chuck, Linda, who's the spokesperson?
Well, I don't know if I can speak to y'all or not.
Come on over here.
I'll help you out.
Well, I'm sure.
I can talk to you on the radio though.
There you
but
go.
anyway, I would like for someone or to address, I've got an erosion problem. We have looked at it, and it's about a ditch on the back of our property that's filled in, and trees has fell in. It needs to be cleaned. All the water north of me is coming down and rushing through, and at the corner of my property, it's got a big old gully washout. It's not staying in the ditch, it's coming over on
And
me.
it should feed into the creek, but
Yeah.
it's backing up on
Okay.
our land and Ruth Ann Thomas's land. And Nicole has been out to look at it, and Michael has been out to look at it.
Okay, so this is the ditch behind y'all's house that feeds into the creek that comes out
Yeah.
of Norwood Lake?
It is between their property and Randy Chandler's property.
Yeah.
Everything from Jody Burke and Hollis that comes across, it comes right through. And there's some problems up through there that divert in the water.
Okay. All right.
And I've got about
I mean, we're losing
20
property
foot
every time it rains.
or more,
Shows the
gully
address.
washout.
1309 Boyd Street.
13, yeah.
Is that before or after Harry Womble?
Oh, that's right down.
Before.
Ruth Ann Thomas, right down there.
Okay. So,
Right next
and
to
Yeah,
before-
when
Right
you
next
turn
to
on
the creek.
Boyd Street from Jones, we're the second place,
Okay.
right across the ditch.
Is it water coming off of streets or streets?
It
or-
comes all the way from top of Boyd. Boyd, comes all the way down from the
Yeah.
peak up there, all the way down through
Yeah.
there. And they probably catch everything from the top down.
Well, yeah, we catch everything north.
Because it comes under Askew there
Yeah.
also.
Now, some of that though, what you're talking about, top of Boyd Street, comes down the drains there, they're talking about on the back side.
Back
side.
It catches
Yeah,
all of
well-
Jody Burke and all of
Askew
the
Way.
Askew.
Yeah.
Okay, it comes off Askew
Right,
then.
right.
They're
Okay.
not-
It backs up to Harry Womble's place and feeds
Yeah, because
from
you
the
go back
woods
there
through
and
there,
come through
from that
the
pasture.
railroad bed.
Oh, all the way up
Is
to
that what
that.
y'all talking about on the backside by the railroad bed?
No,
We got
that,
the fence and the gate and all
in
that
between the
stuff?
railroad bed and Boyd Street, that big bottom
Okay.
in there.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Jody
will,
Burke property, but everything from the holding down to Harry and them all goes out, so over the street.
Yeah, well, there's a little pond back in there too.
Yeah, there's a holding down,
Is it
city has a
all
holding down.
streets or somebody?
Now, that doesn't come down through their property, it
Okay,
comes
that's
down
separate.
over by the creek, by the old basin place.
Okay.
But,
Well, there's creek ditches on both sides of the railroad bed too. Okay.
We
Is
may
that
have
what's
to
washing
do
out?
no, it's on
On the up half? Okay.
Well, I've got that one, but I don't know really what's causing it. It's the one at the back,
The one
That
in the
right.
back is and it's washing not, just not our property, but through Ruth Ann's. And I mean, we have water standing every time it rains. You can't get out there to mow. We're losing land,
because of
and
the
it
drain.
should be feeding into the creek, and it's not.
actually since the tornado, since '84,
Still good
that,
thing.
a lot of that has occurred after the '84, and nothing's been cleared down through there, in over this period of time. It done made its own channel, it's dammed up and stuff, trees up, and it's just some construction work needs to be ditching down through there.
Is it all private property, or are there any city right of ways?
No, it's
all-
all private,
It's all
but,
private.
I mean, I can get the signatures that you need to get on the properties.
Well, the railroad is that still federal property and back up to that? Where
No, I
where
think the
those
railroad
ditches are back
was,
there?
was given to the city.
Okay, so it's still city property now.
So what is because drainage water, we have a lot of ditches that go by us and they've been ripping apart things all over the place.
Yeah, we've got
What-
several
Water
places.
can't flow through there.
So what
We'll
is,
need to fix one on Church Street too. Bryce Street too.
what is the ability of the city to go on private property to move water courses?
Well, they're, speaking off the cuff, because I have not researched this issue, but for the city to expend money on private property, there has to be a showing that it's gonna benefit the city, the health and safety of the people, the inhabitants. You know, it's not just for the benefit of that one homeowner, it's for the benefit of the whole area. Now, if it's a condition that was created by the city or an improvement by the city, that would change the factors. But in this instance, there would have to be a showing that it's just not, it's a problem to him and his neighbors. It's not just unique to him. I mean, that's why we put in and maintain ditches along the road, is one, to maintain the road, but two, to keep it from creating a hazard to everybody who is adjacent to the road.
But was this one not, was this one not put in for drainage?
At one point in
Back in
time,
the year-
something like that.
Back in the years, it was put through there to drain off down the side of the road and everything goes through.
So would it still not be the city, to still maintain the ditch?
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's
Yeah.
fact intensive, and I don't know of enough of the facts to give you an accurate, I'd be happy to look at the situation and dive deeper into it, but I don't know enough of the facts to say one way or the other. I don't know who put the ditch in, when it was put in, why it was put in, and those types of issues are extremely relevant to whether it's the city's job now to go in and spend a bunch of money to fix it. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes either.
We'll determine if it was ever placed there by the city in the first place to begin with.
There are a
Maybe
lot of,
find that out.
there are a lot of ditches running across private property here. I know, and the city at different times has either taken possession of them with no right of way, just because it was convenient and it's city water and they need to get rid of it, or if it's expensive, as a city we've chosen not to. So I think we should pick what we're gonna do and stick with that policy.
I don't think there is a policy, but you get into the thing of public funds on private property.
Right.
And that's the fine line. And like I said, we're
Everybody
not
wants
saying,
their-
no, we can help you, we will. But we have to, walk that fine line with the Attorney General, make sure that we're within our legal bounds to spend public funds on private property.
Does the water originate from a city street, or is it coming off of like an embankment?
What was,
So,
So,
Half of it would
That
be.
makes
yeah,
it sticky.
because
Because if
you'd
it's
have to go
just-
like on that, where Jody Burke's, and then it comes down to Askew, and then that comes down behind the Bennett's, and all the way down through there.
Man,
And,
and then it hits the big ditch.
yeah, and it was several houses along there that got told in our
Let's go to Terry Allen's too. He's right beside Jody Burke,
Yeah.
so he's kind of.
And then it dumps into the,
Okay.
to the
I'm just
main
trying to visual, in my mind,
ditch
trying to see it.
it's the
Sand Creek,
city's.
actually.
See, my concern is if we have,
The front ditch,
Come on by you.
on the front of your house, the city has.
Okay,
I'd say you'd have to get before soil conservation, let them come in, because soil conservation sometimes has, and they have done it in the city in the past, it's gone in there and restructured.
they have, and also, and I don't know if that would, I don't think the Corps would have to be on that.
No,
They don't
that
feed
Holden
directly
Dam
into-
off of Norwoods
Yeah.
is sending water on there, so whoever put that Holden Dam on Norwoods out there would help out.
That was, Corps.
So maybe they could help out.
That was Corps that did that, but,
so I'd request that our attorney look into this.
yeah.
And all that water comes down through.
We're gonna look at it, hopefully we can hit it, because I know how frustrating that can be.
Well, it's just, if it keeps going like it's going, it's gonna be halfway out in my yard,
Yeah.
because like I say, it's a 20, 30 foot.
And I'm suggesting y'all that can drive by and look at it, take a
No,
look
you
at it,
gotta,
see the problem.
you do have a main sewer line that's right off the edge of that creek bank on their property, runs down the side of
That's
that
right,
creek.
and
So we-
it's sitting in that ditch doing this.
Then we do have an easement for that?
And where it leaves it
Well, we
property
have to
on
have a
that
sewer.
side as well.
It comes down on
Going
the
down.
creek side of their property.
Yeah,
down,
we're
and
losing
then
property
across.
on that side as well.
Every time
That's
you
why
run-
Okay,
I'm
we
saying.
will take a look at it, and like I said, if we can't help, we will.
All right.
And that, part of that you look into, can you, like, what is, if,
Thank you.
if a private citizen decides that they're sick of it and they fill in a ditch,
You cannot do that.
what,
It's too much.
If you
have to
cause
go back
any,
and see it.
back up on any neighbor and cause any damages, you're in fact are liable at that point for their damages. So you don't wanna fill in a ditch that backs up water. Get a little story about that later. Okay, who we at?
can you confirm that?
I know.
That's the
And again, we'll look at it and
insurance
we'll
man
see the
knowledgeable
private,
about
public thing. Andy, you're up.
How y'all doing tonight? I'm in need of a shipper truck for the electric department. Mike's been good enough. I've borrowed trucks from him, one that he has that he used for his leaf, and no fault to him or anything, but we put hydraulics on there with starters and just different things to go out on them. Ours is completely shot. It was a Chevrolet Top Kick that was bought years ago with a propane motor. And it's locked up and it's over with. And no, I don't want to put another motor in it. It's not worth it, I can promise you. So the deal is, I've been looking. They have a real good auction coming up next week in Montgomery. I'd love to go over there with the approval of the board and look, and it's a live bidding auction on the deal. I know we come under guidelines, how much money. I'm not buying a new truck. I'm not going out getting, in these bids, I'm not gonna be able to get state contract prices. I'm not wanting to go out there and buy a $30,000-$40,000 truck that would be a used one, being a hydraulic dump bed and stuff. I'm looking somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000, hopefully find what I'm looking for, that'd be decent. We can't,
Diesel?
no,
Decent.
decent.
Oh, I thought you said
Decent,
diesel.
I don't want a diesel
No.
either.
You can go a whole lot longer on propane.
Oh, I know, but, just like you talked to a while ago, a gas burning motor is all we need here in town
Yeah,
for running around shipping our brush up and stuff. We don't need a diesel.
no, I was gonna say
And
that's a.
How do we approve,
Well, he would have money in his budget.
I've got it in my
Electric
budget.
department's got it.
I just mean,
Yeah,
an
no, I
expense
know.
item, like, how do we approve a budget to spend on a potential thing in a bidding environment?
Yeah,
You know,
how does that work down here?
because normally we do.
Help,
have
Daniel,
two bids,
look in that book.
but,
Yeah.
I mean, have you
Is it
ever,
bigger?
have you ever bought city equipment at an auction before?
Not an auction, but we've been down
Yeah.
Well, it's
down to the
vendors,
to
they
surplus.
they have
Joe
something
Unit bought
down
some
there.
years ago down there.
That's different,
Well,
though, isn't it?
we bought it,
Surplus?
we bought it to
It's surplus,
surplus
or
and we
like
actually went to a
But it's not a
TVA
buy box.
That's a
surplus
state thing.
in
Yeah.
Chattanooga one time and
Right,
bought
right,
some
right.
trucks.
You can jewel them a little
This is
bit.
out of state
It's
too.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
If it's possible, I'd be okay with it. Is it
Yeah.
They
possible?
were.
Those were TVA trucks, so y'all kind of
We
staying
went
in the
to
same thing.
Chattanooga that time
Yes, yes.
and bought 5 trucks, I think, one time over there from them, from TVA over there.
It's a government
Yeah, it was a
agency.
government agency, so we could,
Is this an open auction over there? It's not
Yes.
government?
no, it's open.
For us to go, I don't, again, something new on me, but I don't think this is intended by statute for us to, I mean, they're pretty clear and they're wanting this reverse bidding to be implemented and us approving it and going out and getting it from an auction in Alabama, that's not ringing a bell to me that sounds good.
I think that's, yeah.
I said maybe get some bids on one.
Look around and just try to find comparable ones and get the bids on locally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Or
Yeah.
have you checked the surplus place that he's?
We've actually been talking about going down there. The problem with that is, I don't know if they have any, I don't think they have any dump bed trucks. They got some 1-tons and some flatbeds, but I'm
You
looking
just have to, they
something
have different ones. You just
with a
have to go out
hydraulic
and
dump bed on it.
Does that mean no municipality can go to an auction to buy stuff?
No, it's the type of,
If it's a government run, it's one government agency to another one.
yeah,
Can.
right, there's some differences, that exceptions made for the state. But the recent reverse bidding statute that the state passed, I don't remember anything about. I mean, basically the cities now are supposed to, and they're trying to ask for exemptions for certain line items that are less than a certain amount, but I'm thinking anything over $5,000 wasn't, I don't have it right in front of me.
That is right.
But anything above that, you're supposed to put out there, and then people are supposed to basically, it's like anonymous bidding on that they've got them for sale, and then that's the reverse bid. You put it out there, and then they send them to you like almost like eBay in reverse, and you go from there. So it's like an online auction in reverse. That's why it's called up. Right. Okay.
Yeah, that just
But, yeah,
passed in
it's-
I
07.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's brand new. But I mean, if there was a supplier in Alabama that would, because it's supposed to be a state-run place that you go and you say, we need this, and then anybody across the country can say, I've got it for X.
Someone wanted to buy it and then bid it to Andy,
Right.
who wasn't in city government.
Right.
Okay, next is the contract for the Wesley water tank, and we opened those, and Willis took them under advisement, and after looking at them, they are recommending Utility Service Company Incorporated. The low bid of $137,300. That is the recommendation from Willis Engineering that we accept the Utility Service Company Incorporated's bid. Again, that bid was $137,300. Lindy just did a bigger printer.
Yeah, they do.
Our cost to that was,
That, cost sharing on that was, to the ci- of course, on that part, 48, I believe, is the rest of it was grant. So, I would entertain a motion to accept, this, recommendation from Willis Engineering. Senator makes a motion, Fred second, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, before I get into these next two, these were just brought to me this afternoon. David Floyd called me, and we have a pump out, and he got it repaired once, and it's back out, and the people came and said they can't fix it anymore or whatever. But he's got two bids, one from Luckett Pump and Well Service in Tutwiler. And that bid was $7,348.63. And that was without installation. The other bid was from C&C Pump in Sardis. And that bid is $6,468, and that is with installation.
what is this pump?
This is down at the lagoon, which is
Okay. We're doing a pump.
Do they have any warranties?
I would imagine that they do come with some warranty. I'll ask David about the warranties. They'll all be limited warranties, just like any other pumps, but generally 3 months to a year probably would be.
Are they comparable pumps?
I thought he was coming too. look, it does not include the,
I
the
don't know what
horsepower or
a volute-
anything on
I don't know
theirs.
what a volute is, they kept telling me something about this volute.
Volute, yeah,
I
that's-
don't know what that is.
Has David expressed his, or voiced his opinion on if he would rather change the pump out himself or have a contractor to do it?
Some of these, he doesn't have the full ability or the equipment to do some of them.
That's,
Because even the one that's, the only one that's running right now is bolted down on 3 bolts. Now, I think it's supposed to have 6 right now. And they had to re-drill to get those, and he had to get somebody to come in and drill them.
so.
The lagoon is a problem.
Yeah, so even at the $7,348, there could be some extra cost for the tools, equipment, manpower.
So, yeah, we would have to get some, they would have to come and install it probably.
I would bow to David's decision on this, but I would rather not go with the cheapest, just
On that.
because equipment down there, I'd rather have one that doesn't break over time. And if it's an extra $700.
We have to keep
on the
those
front,
pumps going because,
then you don't save in the long run by buying a
yeah.
low quality pump.
Yeah, right.
Will this electric company install?
Like I say, CNC, with installation according to David. I
would, can we say we approve this, but we want the better one?
the better quality, but like I say, one of them, the higher one, he didn't give the horsepower of the pump. The other one gave the horsepower being 25 horsepower. It seemed like a pretty good pump,
Well,
but it takes a big one.
I said, yeah, give it one day, see if we, what a pump.
Which one would do the best, I think,
Yeah.
okay? So we just agreed that we'll, let David make the decision, and on either one of these bids, which one is the best,
Yes.
best deal all around. So we have a motion for that effect. Fred, second, Herbie second, all in favor. Okay, thank y'all. Sorry to spring that on you, but it was just sprung up to me this afternoon.
Probably need to say why we're choosing the higher one.
Yeah, well, we're not choosing the higher one right now. We're gonna choose the best one for down there.
The reason being, we don't want it to break again.
No,
I
we don't.
understand. That's
We
it.
don't. We
So-
don't.
Yeah.
Mayor, David said it needs a new volute. We have to have one ASAP.
Yeah.
New volute.
Volute.
That's-
He didn't say which pump. I said, which pump do you want? Does that give you any hints down there?
Well, no, it's the pump that I don't know how I can describe it. It's some submergible, some are not. These are not down there. They're in a container thing, concrete thing.
I will say when he brought them in first this morning, he just had the cheaper one.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll give him that authority. We'll meet with him tomorrow. Okay, the next item is Daniel's reimbursement for the conference. I think we may have approved that already.
We did.
Back in December, y'all approved it, and I didn't have the itemization of what the trip was gonna be, and I've never been on this trip before, and so I wanted everybody to be on the same page. Of course, a lot of this I've already put down deposits on, but I wanted to, anyways, I just wanted to be upfront and honest with the board about what this trip's costing, and so that's why I thought to put it on the board. However, if y'all don't wanna review it until I get back, that's fine. I just wanted to be transparent with any questions or cost questions that y'all had before I went.
I think we've always accepted that as face value from people attending training.
And we kind of know how much it cost us last year.
When you bring your
It was,
bills back,
yeah.
you know, it comes out of the general fund. The next one also is Herbie attended the water training, which was cost him $75, so we need to approve Herbie being reimbursed that $75. Fred, Kagan second, all in favor? Okay.
And, Kevin, are you going to the
I can't, my father is going under surgery.
Okay, is there anything else from the board before we make a determination whether we need to go into executive session on personnel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I do.
Herbie?
I think it's very important at this time that we look at our beer ordinance again. I feel like that for the better business of our city is to change the ordinance to allow the business owners that sell beer to sell beer hot and cold. I don't want to change the original ordinance that we have, I just want to change the wording that we have in it.
You just want
To allow us to, or allow the city to sell cold beer.
the businesses. so.
The business, yes. Make it
got a new
plain.
job.
Oh, how on earth
I don't
am I
sell
check
cold
coolers now? Okay, are you putting that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I am.
All right, Herbie has made the motion that he wants to amend the beer ordinance to allow the business to sell cold beer, which technically in the ordinance, I think it says no refrigerated beer, so you would strike the words no refrigerated. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second from Kagan. Any discussion? Would you like to speak to it, kind of as to why, or anybody like to speak? Kagan,
So there, I've expressed how I feel about this. But we also have a business that's about to move a very short distance,
Across the road.
but still be incredibly close to Water Valley, and they will be on county land, able to sell cold beer. And that will, I'm disappointed about the sales revenue that they're relocating out of the city is going to have just around fuel and everything else. But for the folks that purchase beer, if it's 3 minutes away and it's at a temperature that they prefer, all of the sales tax revenue that we have today from this product will leave the city. And everything we've been talking about all night and for the last year has been costs are going up of things, and we can't afford to have our budgets drop based on stuff like that.
Correct.
So that was,
That's what I base it
Yeah.
on. Strictly business.
And I can't argue against that argument. I mean, I can't.
But it was a lot of money,
Yes, I mean,
a lot of money.
I know a lot of y'all, your personal feelings are probably the same as mine, you know. You're not alcohol or beer people, but, you know, that's beside the point in this. This is a business decision.
We gotta look out for the city.
So we have, any other discussion? Anybody feel free to express your opinion. If not, we have a motion, we have a second.
I have a question. Looking at this, because they are moving across the street, building across the street, another option as well is annexation.
Okay,
Is that
we
correct?
have had a discussion with that. I have
Okay.
had discussion with Daniel on that. He has kind of researched some things, but
Okay.
that's a long drawn out process.
Okay.
It's not an overnight thing by any means, but we kind of got that ball rolling a little bit, discussion wise anyway.
Okay.
And again, you're gonna get resistance there too, but.
Oh, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
but, one of the things we looked at, and I know this is kind of not on that motion, but it is too. You have to be able to offer people some services if you annex them.
Mhm.
So, that being said, we are selling this new business out there outside the city, sewage and water.
we're also
Say we're
providing.
already giving them services.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So annexation
Exactly.
is a natural next step,
Yeah.
because they've come to us and asked us to provide
That.
city services to them in a county.
And now, their hookups are at their expense. Let me go ahead and clear that up right now too. And it's not costing the city anything to hook them up. They were their own pumps, their engineers, met with our engineers, met with David, got that all flushed out.
So they're gonna build in towards what we have set up already.
Yeah, at the Little Creek right past my office, that is the last manhole right there on the sewage. So they just simply have to do a pump to get it to there, build a
Okay.
line to it, David, our engineer specified the line, size, all that. They do have to bore under the road at their expense for the water, but they do it.
And our services are not just physical.
Yeah.
Our police and our fire are going to be first on scene, and they are paid for by city tax dollars.
That's correct, because they're still
Okay.
inside that 5-mile radius.
Okay, so I think we have the motion, we have a second, all in favor, and that is unanimous. Daniel, again, I turn to you, and I think that motion was to take out the wording, no refrigerated beer.
Strike refrigeration from ordinance to facilitate the sale of cold beer, so I'll review the ordinance and,
It'll be section 8, if I remember.
yes, sir, but I'll redline anything that may be in conflict with that idea and then make the changes and submit that to y'all for y'all's review and approval.
Okay.
I
Okay,
have one more thing.
okay, excuse me, Nicole?
Just requesting permission to attend the conference also.
And me too.
I don't think you have to, but yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Well, just so everybody knows.
Yeah,
we-
when you bring your
We're gonna
report.
go, so we
Okay.
would fall in
Okay.
line with last year. We got approved to go,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
our expenses will be approved after we return.
Okay. So,
I can't go.
okay.
I have two quick things.
Do we need
Well,
to?
let's have a motion to
Well, we can make
approve
a
any
motion
board member
ourselves,
that's going,
but we would love for
that we'll
somebody to
reimburse
allow
their
us to go.
expenses. Can I have a motion to that effect? Hurry makes that a motion. Second, Kagan, all in favor? And that's unanimous. Who had something?
A couple quick things. The new class at base camp just started. So if you see, we've got 16 kids that are 8 hours a day in class. You'll see them in their base camp shirts. Please be impressed when you see them and encourage them because they're working for 8 hours every day.
Okay.
And then I had a quick question for the board. Somebody asked me on the street last week, when my wife and I first moved to town, the building that the BTC is in right now was owned by a developer out of Oxford. And there was lots of discussion and feelings in Water Valley because there was discussion of tearing that building down to repurpose the bricks for a development in Taylor. And someone asked me, is there anything to stop someone from doing that now? And there still is not.
It is not.
Which brings me to why I'm flagging y'all down, is I have not item.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So my question was just, some folks feel strongly about government overreach, but I would be, and I own a bunch of historic property on Main Street, I would be okay with something that made it really difficult for a private individual to rip down an old commercial building in our downtown.
So is that not covered in our historic downtown district?
No.
Okay.
It's not. I had, actually John researched that, and according to statutes that he could know, you can't stop them from doing it.
Is this a real scenario?
What, with our existing ordinances and existing statutes,
Yeah.
we can tweak things to make a lot of red tape.
Right.
But if they're willing to jump through the
Yeah.
hoops, they can do it.
I just think, I know that
Put something in
the
place?
town, when we arrived, the town was very upset.
Yes.
Uh,
There was even a song written about not tearing down the building by Joe Gerner.
Okay. So I
Brick by
was,
brick.
Again, let Daniel research
Yeah. People go
Uh,
ahead and take it in,
Sure.
tear it down
whether or not we
brick
can
by
tweak, if we can legally pass any type of ordinance to.
I
And it may be
didn't know if we
overreach.
wanted to spend that expense, if folks disagreed with me. I just,
I think we should just preserve everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
We already have an existing National Register of Historic Place districts with 100 buildings in it. 80 of those buildings are contributing buildings. And what other towns do is they end up making a local district that coincides with the national district. And there they change the zoning in it, and that's how it's handled in other towns. We don't have anything on the books right now for that. Right?
so that's.
I agree with what Mickey just said. That's what angle I was looking at.
so I'd like to pursue that so that one day if someone gets upset with the town and wants to tear something lovely down, we would have a way of making it really difficult.
Okay. We'll just let Daniel I don't think we need a motion, just let him research.
I'll come back to y'all next month about that.
He's our beck and call. Okay, anything else from any other sentiment?
So following up on the building inspector,
Executive
I
session.
think it's higher.
I know it is.
Oh,
So I found out that, how much our manuals are gonna cost that we need when we hire this individual. And I wanted to go ahead and make a motion to consider the cost, to purchase these manuals.
what is the cost?
It's a website, it's called ICC Safe, and there's so many different books and manuals, but we're,
Yeah.
we're looking at, around $1,500, $1,500.
Well, currently, all of our code is past date, so we don't have any building codes.
That's correct, they're expired. Anything after 10 years is no longer enforceable. So we need to go ahead and have that in place, along with getting that new individual hired.
So I would make
But
a
when you-
motion that we approve the money to buy. Apparently, we can't adopt the code because it's privately developed until we pay someone for a copy.
That-
You have to purchase
Probably
the
be
code,
under
purchase the
copyright law,
code, then adopt the
codes.
code, and then put the code into enforcement
But
with our building inspector and the police chief.
I agree, we need codes. The thing is, will that person be required to be the one that reads every one of those codes and enforces every one of those codes?
Yeah, that's why you have to,
Because
that's why we're
you
hiring
look at
that
that
individual.
list, I'm sure all of y'all gone online and looked at that list. It is,
Now,
and
no.
the opinion has always been that, you may want to adopt these, and I agree, we need some codes.
You can adopt them and pick and choose anything in there you would like to keep or strike out.
So if I would make a motion that we approve the purchase of the international building codes. So that.
The funds to
Yes,
purchase.
the
Yes, the
funds to
funds to
purchase
purchase.
and move forward with purchasing.
Okay.
And then whichever fire code, I know that there's every 4 years they release a new one and there's some that we want to avoid.
Yes.
Is my understanding.
I've got the
because-
notes on that.
So that we approve those two, so the international building, because I know we could go crazy and we could buy codes for everything.
Right.
But a fire safety code and the international building code books.
So your motion is to provide the funds to purchase these.
Yes.
And then once the position is filled, then,
Oh, allow the person to buy them?
no,
He's
no,
talking about
it would be the
We're
city
gonna have to
expense,
adopt, we have to
but,
adopt those, yeah.
yeah, we would have to adopt them once we can purchase them legally.
He would have an input in choosing.
You can buy the book all day long without
Keep
Adopt them.
adopting the code.
all them codes up under one book. It's not buy a fire code and buy international code, but they're all up under international building code.
Okay.
It's just one.
Just
one
I make a
code.
motion.
Bob
that we-
Malley said that there's 7 codes
It's
There-
a
to
lot.
purchase
Many
those.
codes.
It's several.
Yeah.
Mechanical, electrical.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Fire.
that list was that long.
It's a lot of reading.
Because I forwarded the email to you guys.
Okay, so we have the motion that we do provide the funds to purchase the code books up to a certain amount, or, I mean,
don't
because
know.
it could get ridiculous.
I don't know what the ballpark is. I would say if it exceeds $3,000, we need to see that.
It shouldn't be that much.
I was thinking around 1,000, like 800 years ago.
That's about
Something
right.
50/30 sticks in our brains. Is it 850/30? I don't know. Anyway, we have a motion that, say up to $1,500, up to $1,500 for purchase the code books. Have a motion, we have a second. We have a second from Nicole, all in favor, and that's unanimous. Okay, anything else from the board?
Got one other thing, if we can back up a little bit, David is here now to discuss the employment.
Now, he's actually here to discuss an employee.
Oh,
So,
do we not want to get into
If-
front of
if-
the-
I'll get into that.
Okay, I think we have a matter for termination for purpose of going into executive session.
Motion,
Motion.
go into closed determination.
So I have that motion.
You want to wait?
I have that motion. Okay, Fred, heard the second, all in favor?
Do it.
And that's everybody.